Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. I'm Sam. I'm here today with Gab and Maui. Say hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
Hey!
What's up? Kumusta kayo?
Okay naman. Talo Ateneo kanina. Sinclair.
Okay, we'll
nako.
get there. We'll get there. Today we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about a topic that was if you watched the previous episode or if you saw the previous episode, we briefly talked about it there. We're gonna deep dive into it later, but nabanggit na ni Gab since it's slow news week. Let's quickly talk about the strong group. Ano nga ba tawag dun sa strong group competition?
Coco
So far.
Life, something.
Something. Okay. Initial thoughts or reactions lang. Quickly lang. Maui, alam ko ikaw yung pinaka nakanood sa ating lahat. So, what are your thoughts?
I think at this point sa off-season, I'm very happy to see na may college games. I think we can speak both for the UAAP and the NCAA. Both had spectacular seasons.
We're just desperate for content, Maui.
Exactly. We're desperate for content and finally at least meron ng games yung college basketball sa Philippines. Dati kasi meron pa ng mga PCL and I'm not sure kung kailan yung Phil Oil, but I'm happy to see na finally may content. And happy to see yung teams playing yung players nila.
And Maui, sorry. And don't forget that it's live on Facebook.
Exactly. So very easy to watch. You guys just have to like or follow the Ball Out Sports page sa Facebook. You can watch all the live games. You can rewatch the games na nilive nila, which is something we have been clamoring for the UAAP, for us to be able to rewatch the games easily, seamlessly. So this is a random league in the off-season, sponsored by Coco Life and the Strong Group. And yet, we can watch these games easily. Yun lang.
Okay. Initial thoughts on the games you've seen, Maui. Not just Ateneo. I know tayo pa napag-usapan natin Ateneo. But even the other teams. What stood out for you?
Yeah. Actually, surprising for me, number one, yung crowd. Napansin ko sa games. Madami nanonood, in fairness. It's like a Phil Oil game. The venue is not that big, pero you can see na marami yung nanonood, which I'm very happy about. Number two, I think general thoughts is yung teams talaga are just trying to check out yung new recruit players nila and check out yung lineups nila for next season. One of the games that was really interesting, medyo nag-trending sa social media also, was yung NU versus UP game. There was a lot of highlights and they were saying that if this is a preview of the coming season, hopefully season 86 ba next season or 87, the coming season will be just as crazy nung previous season. I'm hoping that all the teams, UST hoping to get stronger, teams like NU hoping to build up on their success last year. So hopefully, I mean, initial thoughts is I'm very happy na NU was able to go toe-to-toe with a UP squad that was almost full. I think most of their recruits played. Si Malik Diouf played, si Kagulangan played. Alarcon and Cyril Gonzalez are having a great off-season. I'm seeing Alarcon playing a lot better, with more confidence, and I'm really scared of the UP team. Kanina naman, there was this game, UP against San Beda. Also a tight game. I was happy to see. Close ulit. I was happy to see si Jacob Cortez. Jacob Cortez is actually the son of the Lasallian legend Mike Cortez playing for San Beda. I think he had 19 points, 3 steals, and 8 assists. So a very cool cut like numbers. They almost beat UP, but UP was playing undermanned. So yeah, I guess I'm really happy for the content. Really happy that we're able to watch this seamlessly. Walang issues like yung, sorry to say, yung Signal app.
By the way, if check nyo yung Facebook page, no? I was watching the Ateneo Sinclair game kanina. Meron ding highlights that they post on the feed. So real-time highlights on their Facebook page. I mean, honestly, like if they can do this type of coverage, I don't understand why sa UAAP or TV5 or Signal can't do the same. Gab, you were gonna say something?
Same thing on the coverage. It's okay for me to see some ads, a few ads. It's no problem with me. I mean, diba? That pays for them.
Right,
Na
right.
they were able to stream it for free, but they just have to show ads. They have to show the logos of sponsors. That pays their league. Signal, we have to pay, and we don't. We still have to watch ads. So, I think that tells you all you need to know about how crappy Signal is right now. Regarding the games, sorry, I only watched the Ateneo games, except the game a while ago against St. Clair. But just happy na these guys got to play. Ateneo has a ton of guards. The saw it right now. Ian Espinosa, LeBron Nieto is now playing for the seniors team. I liked what I saw from Joseph Obasa. I think he's a more polished offensive player than Ange Kwame. He's not quite the defensive monster that Ange was, but I like what I saw, and that's all I could take from the games. I just watched Joseph Obasa. Can't really take much out of all the other rotations and the players and the plays, because this is essentially just their Team B mixed with some Team A players. But yeah, same as Maui. I'm just happy na nakakanood na ulit ako ng college hoops.
Okay. Okay, before we spend more time about that, let's move on to the main topic for today. So, in the previous episode, na bring up to ni Gab, we wanted to deep dive into this conversation. We know it's going to be a bit what do you call this? Debatable. This is going to be sort of like a debate format. Controversial for some yung magiging takes ng iba dito. But let's get into it. So, you've probably seen the title from our video preview. Today we're going to try to answer the question. Should student athletes be required to take and pass the college entrance exam in order for them to join their school's varsity team? So yun yung question that we're going to answer today. For the first feedback or first insight, I want to go to you, Gab.
Okay, my answer is definitely a resounding yes. They do have to pass. Pass, not the stake. No way, you're not the stake. Pass the entrance exams of whatever school they're trying to get into. Because you said it in the question, Sam, student athletes. They're applying not just to play a sport, they're applying to get access to an educational and academic institution. So I think they should meet the educational and academic requirements of that institution, and not just because they play a sport. Sports, any sport, is an extracurricular activity. You're not taking up a course in BS basketball, BS football, AB volleyball, whatever that course is. That is not the degree you're getting, and you really have to be subjected to the same standards as with other students who apply to that school. Diba? I think it's wholly unfair to normal students who work hard, who study hard, who may not, have the same athletic talent that certain athletes have, but you should be able to maintain those standards in order to play. I'm not a believer of just going to school and playing and then expect that you're gonna get a degree out of it, or you're gonna get an education out of it for free. You have to earn that education. So that's my first point.
Okay. So thank you. Good points, Gab. I'll go next, no. I think for me, uh I'm it's not a direct yes or no, no. Pero should they be required to take, I not necessarily to take and pass. For me, I think the answer is not necessarily. Um and for me at least, the way I look at it is, okay, the entrance exam, it's, yes, it's important. It's part of um probably one of the big what do you call this, factors in deciding whether you can enter the school or not. But as student athletes, people are different, and as student athletes, I understand that they are probably more talented in the athletics department than maybe they're not as good or as skilled in academics, for like math or science or whatever, no. So for me, I understand why there should, like, student athletes should be given a chance to still join the school or join the varsity program of the school, even though they did not pass, for example, the entrance exam. But I think Gab made a good point, no. I'm not saying that Gab is 100% wrong. I think what Gab said, students can't just go to school and expect to get a degree, no, by just playing for their team. I think staying in school is a different thing, no. If you're now, if you don't pass the entrance exam, okay, if you can excel in sports, why not? You can still join the team, but you are expected to become a student, meaning you have to attend classes. You have to, try to pass your classes. I think that's a different thing. So, if I were to answer the question, should they be required to take and pass? I think for me the answer is no. I think student athletes need to be given a chance, even though, let's say, they fail or they don't make the cut. Also, because at least I think it's also more of a system thing wherein, sa totoo lang, here in the Philippines, the top athletics programs are in the top schools or the top universities, the most difficult universities to join. So dahil ganun, and matataas standards ng universities na to. We all know the UAAP schools, the NCAA schools, matataas yung standards nila. So because it's like that, the system is like that. Paano na yung mga top athletes? Like, paano kung you have this like top level NBA level player pero hindi lang talaga siya magaling sa academics, OA naman yung NBA level
Sorry.
player, paano yun, di ba? I mean, what if they don't pass the exam?
Don't go to college.
I'm just saying, sorry, OA na yung NBA level, but paano yung mga talented players that want to go to top pro athletic programs in the Philippines, di ba? So I think that's why we need to give them a chance.
Then study hard to pass the exam.
So my point is, maybe you don't pass the entrance exam, but I think it's important that you attend class. I agree with you, Gab. It's important to attend class, and it's important that you try to pass your subjects. It's important na you still remember that you're a student of the school. But the entrance exam alone should not determine if you can join the varsity program of the school or not. Yun yung argument.
The entrance exam also, Sam, is a way for the schools to know if you are up to the task of maintaining those standards and staying in school. So hindi pwede na okay lang hindi ka makapasa ng entrance exam basta magstay ka in school. How will the administration or the teachers know that you have the academic or competency to keep up yung with their classes. That's the point of the entrance exam. So, ako para sa akin, hindi dapat, not necessarily. Should be a resounding yes. You should have to reach an academic standard in order to enter and stay in school. Si Maui.
Just to end that point, Gab, I agree, but I think it shouldn't end there. Para sa akin, I agree, no, the entrance exam is a measuring stick na parang, okay, hanggang dito yung performance mo now. But I don't think that should be the only factor in allowing you to join that school. And second, I don't think that's going to be that's going to say na this is going to be your ceiling. Hindi ka na lalampas dito. If hindi mo pinasa ngayon, like, you can take it 100 times, hindi ka papasa. I think students can prove that they can be better. And that's why they're given, let's say, 4 or 5 years to sort of prove that. So, yun lang para sa akin. No? I agree with you, but I'm just a bit more, siguro lenient na lang siguro. If I'm a school, mas lenient ako. Maui, let's hear your take before kami bago namin i-take over yung argument na to ni Gab. Go ahead.
Well, ako, initial thoughts ko lang on the subject. I think the first things first, before we get into the subjects, we have to look at what are the restrictions set by let's say the NCAA or the UAAP. Parang kasi right now in the Philippines, unlike in the United States, yung NCAA requires students to maintain a certain GPA, number 1, if they're to maintain the athletic scholarships. Number 2, schools have a maximum number of scholarships to give. Number 3, it's very different kasi here. Here kasi, like you said, Sam, the basis for you entering at school is, the big weight really is the entrance exam. So I think I agree with both of you in terms that when Gab says that you have to know the competency of the student, if he's going to be capable of attaining that certain academic standard of that school. But I also have to agree with you that it's the weight of that the entrance test is too much. I mean, not everyone has the capability to even, number 1, pay for the entrance test, and number 2, not everyone has yung resources for them to be able to have yung level of competency. I think institutions' main job is really to form people to be better, form people to be their best self. So I really think that yung weight ng entrance test is too much for these student athletes. As much as I want them to be student first and athlete second, I think maybe if you ask me, in my opinion, maybe no, it should not be required, but it has to be regulated in the sense that these student athletes have to be also monitored in terms of how they perform sa school. I think one of the examples is very close to home, Ateneo. I think when Tab Baldwin took over the team, he required his players to have a certain grade point average, a QPI in Ateneo terms. 7-star players, Arvin Tolentino, CJ Perez, all those big names were kicked out of Ateneo, not just the team. And I think, yung level of talaga, the UAAP or even the DepEd has to be clear on the regulations when it comes to student athletes. Because to me, it's really getting crazy, yung recruitment wars right now. So this is really a pressing topic that has to be discussed more.
Maganda yung point mo, Maui, no? So it has to be, parang, the way I see it is, for you, it has to be like institutional. Instead of like the schools having their own sort of requirements, maybe dapat like a CHED or let's say the UAAP or the NCAA all agree on like a certain baseline, and then bahala na yung schools, no? Like if they want like, let's say, higher standards, pwede naman din, but it would be helpful for all the schools if merong baseline and sort of like everyone's regulated that way. Sorry, Gab, I think you wanted to say
Sorry,
something.
sorry, I want to say lang something
Go,
first.
Maui.
I think when it comes to the CHED, I think yung minimum requirement is you just have to pass high school or get a certain diploma or accreditation for you to be able to play college.
Shout out to Lasal for
Exactly.
getting suspended because of that.
I remember that because of the suspension of LaSalle.
Oo
Because
nga.
they had players
Okay.
that didn't even meet the minimum requirement set by CHED. Yun lang.
Okay, good point. Hindi ko naalala yun. Go, Gab.
Ako lang yung problem ko lang with the argument made that it should not be the only requirement for student athletes. Ganun. Would you extend the same leniency to non-athletes? Why do you give special treatment to these athletes when you're entering an educational institution, especially if that athlete slot is being taken, that student slot who's not an athlete is being taken by a student athlete who also did not meet the same requirements, the same score in the entrance exam. So at this point, I do want to give an example. They're the clearest example we have right now. It's UP. UP Diliman has this program called the Varsity the Varsity Athletic Admission System. So it's in UP's official website. So I'm guessing this is an official program that student athletes do not have to enter, do not have to take or pass the UPCAT in order to gain entrance to the UP system. Now, this goes into my argument for why I think it's required for you to pass. I think it's a bit unfair, especially when it comes to something like the UP system, because every year thousands and thousands of students bust their ass to study for the UPCAT for the limited slots you have in UP. Sam, you know this. You went to UP. Konti lang ang slots sa UP, especially sa UP, especially sa UP Diliman, diba? And you're giving it to someone who did not meet or even take the requirements of the UPCAT, which I think is totally unfair, because you're possibly taking a slot from someone who did pass, or maybe did not. Who did pass or maybe did not reach that score mark to get into a place like UP Diliman. So, for me, unfair yun. The access to the UP system is something that is very, how do I say this? Very
limited.
Yung very limited. And sobrang gusto ng mga tao to get in there. And yet you're giving it to someone who did not meet the academic competency required to enter UP. So, yun para sa akin ang classic example nito. If we go back to the question, should student athletes be required? Para sa akin talaga, it's hell yes. Because there are other people who are required to get that academic competency who may not be good in a sport, but they are prevented from entering the school system just because they didn't meet it. Diba? Well, yun ang para sa akin. So hindi ako agree with both of you na it's not necessary, na medyo may fine line yung mas lenient kayo. Ako para sa akin strict. Which is why Maui brought this up in our chat, no, na mas maganda talaga yung European system, no. If you're not cut out for college, if you're not cut out for college education, you go to a school or to a place that really focuses on that sport that you want to play, diba? In Europe, they have schools dedicated. If you want to focus on basketball, you go to a school that focuses on basketball. You don't have to go to college, which I think is the right way to go. But yeah, in relation to our topic, I'm still a firm resounding yes that student athletes should be required to pass their college entrance exams.
Yeah, again, I don't disagree with you, Gab. I don't disagree with you. That's a fair point. Actually, I was gonna bring up that European system ngayon, sinabi ni Maui sa chat natin na I think in an ideal scenario or in an ideal world, may ganun tayo sa Pilipinas, no? Which would make it easier for the athletes. Unfortunately, wala, 'di ba? And the top sports programs are in the top universities. Ngayon, to answer your question, does it also extend to non-athletes? Actually, UP also does it to non-athletes. So, for example, if I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, yung mga listeners natin dyan from UP. Mga iska. If you want to take fine arts or maybe like a college of music, and these people, they usually take a talent test. So sometimes I think if you fail the UPCAT, I think you are required to take the UPCAT. But if you fail but do well in your talent test, you could still get into UP. So it's also extended to non-athletes. To be fair to UP, ha. To be fair to UP. And my argument there is tama naman, no, Gab, but yun nga, for me kasi the way I see it is not everyone will be academically gifted. And I think for me, at least the way I see it with UP is they also accept that. And that's why they have like really good programs in, let's say, fine arts and music, and not really like academics focused programs. So that's sort of how I see it lang, na parang for UP, which is a public school, a government school, I guess the idea is just to get like the most excellent people in their fields. And sometimes yung field that you are excellent in is not necessarily an academic field, which is why I am more lenient in accepting highly talented people in their specific field, even though maybe they're not as academically gifted. But to be fair, tama nga naman, if you enter a college or a university, you really have to have a very, some sort of academic, minimum academic requirement man lang, di ba? So, I'm not saying you're wrong there, and I really see your point. No? Go ahead, Maui. Are you gonna say something, or Gab?
No.
Say Maui. Go.
Well,
Say Maui. Go.
Well, ako naman, honestly speaking, talaga, it really boils down sa regulation. Kung walang regulation, talaga maraming gray areas in terms of like these student athletes. This is why very strict sa NCAA, sa states, schools get suspended a lot of times. Schools are limited to a number of scholarships per sport para they don't take yung spots ng people that are more competently in terms of academics to enter that university. But it's different in the US. In the US, they have the SAT scores. They have different measuring systems. Here, it's really, to be frank about it, probably 80% of the time that people get into college is really about the entrance test. So, I don't know, but Sammy, yeah, I agree with some of the points you made, especially yung skills test ng, let's say, a fine arts or a music degree major student. But I also have to say that yung nasa fine arts, nagme-major in music, they're studying music and fine arts. So I understand why the skill test is
that's
really
what I was
important.
talking about.
The problem with sports is there's no such thing as what Gab said kanina. There's no BS basketball, there's no AB volleyball, there's no BS football. So for me, it really boils down to regulation. The UAAP has to work hand in hand with all its schools and the CHED and whatever institutions. The NCAA has to do the same if they want to regulate this. But I doubt it. I highly doubt it that they want to regulate.
I doubt it.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So
good point, Mao. That was the actually thing I wanted to say. Dale brought this up. Our good friend Dale in one of our offline conversations. If you remember back in season 84, when she brought up that in In some schools in UP, the UP School of Music, the UP School of Fine Arts, they do have skills-based tests because they're more inclined to that field. But they're being graded and graduating with a degree based on those skills. In for an athlete, you don't graduate with degrees in those sports. You get graded you get graded and you get a degree based on your performance in the classroom, which is most likely not related to the sport you're playing. So ano yun? So kung bangko ka sa basketball, you get a D. Kung ikaw yung star player, ikaw yung A, diba? You don't get graded yung based on what got you that scholarship, which is my big problem. But yeah, that's just me. I just really think that if regular students are subjected to this specific standard, then all students should be subjected to that specific standard. Just because you're good in a sport does not exempt you or give you leeway from that requirement. For me.
Okay. So, I think we've all said our points. To be fair, sa totoo lang, sabi ko nga sa inyo, controversial yung topic na to. Alam nyo guys, before we started this episode, nag-debate na kami if we should do this episode. Kasi we felt like sobrang controversial nito. Mga 30-minute pre-game debate. Kasi we felt like sobrang controversial. But we felt like it was an important topic to talk about. And we wanted to share our insights with you. So, the question is, what do you guys think? Where do you stand in this debate? Are you more lenient? Are you super strict? And what solutions or what do you think is the best solution moving forward for the country, wherein we can recognize top talents and also give everyone, the proper opportunity for them to really grow and hone their talents in the right way, or in the right place. So let us know. Kung may ideas ba kayo? Is it like an institutional change? Does the UAAP, the NCAA, those types of collegiate groups have to make a stand? Does the government have to step in? Let us know. And if you have other topics, suggestions that you want us to talk about, just comment down below. Kasi mahaba-haba pa bago tayo mag-UAAP. Naubusan namin ng topic. That's why we're talking about things, controversial things like this. So, there you have it. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share this episode to your friends. We'll see you next time. Bye!
Peace.